In the world of warehousing, whether we're in manufacturing, production, or distribution, we have a saying, get the doors closed. Our supervisors and managers use that amongst themselves and their bosses. That's their primary goal for the shift. Now that can encompass controlling their hours, meeting their production or productivity needs, and kind of setting the plate for the next shift. Welcome back to Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I'm Marty T. Hawkins, and with this episode, we'll be getting the doors closed on 2019. I've had a blast this year, and our Thursday get-togethers have been a big part of that fun. We have some great plans for WAOC in 2020. We've lined up some really interesting guests on a variety of different topics, and we'll be talking a lot about those first steps into the frontline management opportunities out there. I've met several new recruiters and hiring agents that'll help us with our career choices this year, and I'm excited about learning from each of them. As we get those doors closed on this year, I'd like to thank each of you, all of our listeners, for stopping in each week and for all the participation, emails, and questions that you send in. You know, it's really each of you that have kept us going for 170 consecutive weeks. You've made it worthwhile for us, and I hope we've brought you some useful information, some things, you've been able to advance your careers with this year. So a part of getting the doors closed each shift is the planning that goes into tomorrow's shift. I always take a moment every day to review the day's successes and what I could have done better. I actually ask myself, what is the one thing that'll make me better tomorrow every night? We've learned a little about planning and goals this year. It's such an important part of our careers, whether we have found the perfect job for ourselves or we're on a path to a position that we see as our long-term career or where we're wanting to retire from. I was thinking, what better way to review the year's planning than from those that's lived it, the ones within our group. The logistics of getting everyone together for a show proved pretty much impossible here at the last week of the year. So we thought we'd try reaching out to individuals separately and adding those calls to the show as they came in. As I've mentioned several times, we here at WAOC are nowhere close to being audio experts. It's going to be a lot of fun anyway. As you know, one of my favorite podcasts is hosted by Cindy B. Brown. If her show, Unlocking the Secret to Living Rich, is not on your weekly got-to-listen-to list, you're missing out when it comes to your money. Anyway, I grabbed about 2 minutes of a recent episode, number 115, she titled, Set Goals Now, that came out, I believe it was around the first week of December. And with her permission, of course, I wanted to play a couple of highlights here for you. And I'll be sure to post a link to the full episode in today's show notes. I'm sure you're going to want to catch the whole show. It's just that good. So let's hear her 5 points to setting goals.
Why is goal setting so important? In life, you are either part of someone else's plan or you are part of your plan. People who don't set goals tend to go with the wind and believe that life happens to them, or that whatever they have or don't have is due to a matter of luck. Thus, tip number 1, set goals aligned with your soul and purpose. Number 2, keep your goals visible at all times. Look at your goals every day, at least every week if you can't do it every day. Stay focused. Number 3, get an accountability partner or a system. If you set goals and don't share them with anyone, it's no big deal if you don't achieve them, as you will be the only person who knows your secret goal. And if you're okay with letting yourself down, there's no accountability for not achieving that goal. Number 4, find a goal that is worthy of your life. Number 5, anticipate roadblocks.
Wow, powerful stuff, huh? After I listened to that episode, I called Cindy. Yep, I know a published author. And I'm not affiliated with her book or her podcast, but I do like them both. Anyway, I called her and told her how great that episode was. In our world of operations, we can apply each of those 5 steps in our planning and structuring of our goals. I myself have integrated those 5 thoughts into my overall goals for next year. You know, our jobs are touched, I won't say controlled by others, but at least touched by the task before us, or maybe our mechanics, or in many instances, our computer systems. Things like, if I'm a loader trying to get my productivity numbers and the selectors aren't focused and brings my product up in a timely fashion, I'll need to adjust my workflow. Or maybe our maintenance department didn't fix our pallet jack and we're working with a manual jack for a few hours. We will have to compensate for those roadblocks in order to hit our shift goals. Or I guess we could say, well, I didn't hit my productivity because I didn't get my product quick enough or my jack wasn't working. You know, I probably set my goals a bit high, but I use them to push myself. I place a lot of worth in myself. And her number 2 and 3, visible and accountable. Our systems and metrics can do all that for us. I never want my productivity to be towards the bottom of the printout. I think I mentioned it before, but one of my biggest motivators when I was an order selector was to stay out of the bottom half percentage-wise on the productivity sheet posted at lunch each shift. The supervisor would highlight all the names in pink marker that were under the nightly average. Even if we were all selecting at average, the bottom half would get the pink marks. As silly as it is, that only happened to me once. My goal was not to be in the pink. And as for aligning our goals with a purpose, well, I think work-wise or employment-wise, it's to make money, grow with our companies, make more money, advance within our positions, and make even more money, right? Setting goals and planning our careers will achieve those dreams for us and our families. So let's get to a couple of those calls and talk a little about 2019, planning, and 2020. You may remember Corey. He's been on the show a couple of times. I believe the first time we met Corey, he had just been promoted to a unloading lead. He went on to become an unloading supervisor and is now learning all the tasks involved in setting the plates between the shifts. The receiving, running, put away, shoot, all the different tasks, I guess. Corey, you got a full plate. How you been, sir?
I've been real good. Just getting used to it, catching up with everything on a daily basis.
Well, that's great, man. And I know you're going to be successful at just about anything that you do. So, how was your year? Did you accomplish all your goals this year?
I met one of my life goals. I became a homeowner here in the state of Texas. As you know, I did move to Texas, and it's been great since getting down here, getting everything together. And now just keep pushing and striding for more.
Outstanding. Well, you know, every year brings new to us, and you've definitely had a lot of new come to you. What's something new that you learned this year?
Well, I try to be prepared in life. You will have hurdles and just push through them, you know. Be patient and try harder. Just lock and load. Just get done what you can when you can.
You know, you mentioned being prepared. That's really planning. So how do you plan and set goals? How do you get started?
Well, you got to find something that's necessary and realistic. You got to have a goal that you can accomplish in an amount of time that you want to accomplish it. So that's like my main thing is always setting a realistic goal and setting the pace to get to that goal.
You know, I've always felt that planning is really necessary. I don't think I would ever get up and run forward if I didn't have my plan. Do you feel planning is really necessary?
Absolutely. Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. You can't give up. If your Plan A fails, be ready to initiate Plan B. Plan B don't work, just keep going. You'll get it eventually.
Yeah, I'm an ABC guy myself. So how do you help your employees work their plan? You know, we've heard a lot today about how do we energize and how do we motivate our employees? How do we get them working towards their plan?
I'm an encourager. I like to encourage people to do better. I build them up, make sure their plan's realistic, just totally encourage them, get them ready, and any help I can help them along the way, I give them what I can.
Well, that's great, and I know they're learning from it and appreciative of it. So, Corey, tell us how 2020 is going to turn out, man.
I absolutely believe it's going to be a positive year, positive for everyone. I'm going to push myself, go bold, and grow. I'm going to learn, do as much as I can, as fast as I can, and just keep pushing.
Outstanding. You will be successful at whatever you put your plan to be. And our old friends Rodrigo, Philip, and John told me to tell you hey for them, man.
You tell the guys I said hello, and I hope all is well.
Certainly will. And you have a very happy holidays and a great new year, Corey.
Happy holidays to all, and I wish you all the best new year.
Well, thank you very much, Corey. We appreciate it, and we really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us here at WAOC again. Corey is a longtime WAOC listener. When we first met him, he was living and working up in Pennsylvania and really had the itch to move to Texas one day. He developed his plan, transferred within his company, advanced through several different positions over the course of about 2 years, and is now working for a national food service provider and continues his growth through great goals and planning. Next up, our old friend Philip. Philip really needs no introduction. He's visited with us several times. He oversees several facilities in a couple of different states, as well as manages their unloading and timekeeping programs. Wow, I guess the last time we spoke was when we did a show from your office in Chicago. I think that was in late 2018. Are you getting the doors closed on 2019, sir?
Yes, I am. It has been quite a while since we last had a session, but I'm always open to it and ready to hit on some good topics.
Fantastic. So I've been asking everyone the same questions. Let's see. Here they are. So did you accomplish all your goals this year?
I wasn't able to accomplish all of my goals that I set for this year, but I'm comfortable and happy with the goals that I was able to obtain.
Accomplishing our goals, I always have a few left over. Sometimes I reach too far. And as we've talked to people this evening, that's pretty much a common practice. Yeah, if we're not continuously reaching and planning or maybe overreaching, we're not going to reach our potential anyway, are we?
No, sir. I'm guilty of that. I can be focused on trying to reach goals and then something else and take me on a whole different path.
So tell us about something new you learned this year.
I learned to be more patient. I've always been a patient person, but I learned that I was more impatient when things come my way that's unexpectedly. So I've learned to, expect the unexpected and be patient and deal with whatever's needed, what's in front of me.
Yeah, what do they say? Patience is a virtue. That's something I struggle with myself every day.
Absolutely.
So tell us about how you plan and set goals. Everybody does it a little bit differently. How do you get started, every year?
Well, that good old pen and paper. I write it down, put it in my notes. If there's something specific that's pertaining to dates, I put it on my calendar. What works for me is writing things down. And as I, attain them, I scratch them off. Or if it's something I want to build off of, I add notes to it. But, the pen and the paper is what I go off of pretty much.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Every time you see me, I've either got a legal pad or my daily planner with me.
Yeah, that's something I learned over the years, and it works quite. It makes you feel good when you accomplish something that you're trying to do and scratch it off. I do it daily, actually, with my planning, but the long-term goals, I write those down as well, and I make sure that they are attainable.
Exactly. And you mentioned planning quite a bit. Is planning really necessary for everyone, Philip?
It is. I learned the hard way. Trying to do things off the fly without a plan, things can go terribly wrong, especially when you're dealing with business. It costs you more money. So I definitely make sure that I have a plan in place, especially in the field of work that I'm in. I have to plan ahead.
How do you help your employees work with their planning?
Well, one of the things I preach on a daily basis or weekly basis whenever we have in our meetings, for them to utilize that calendar. The calendar is a very good tool when you're trying to make plans and, organize your day or your week or your month, your quarter. The calendar is a very good tool for planning, and that's what I teach, my supervisors and my managers and my peers, or suggest that they use the calendar.
Yeah, that's great. I use a digital, calendar and my planner calendar. You have to, or I have to use a calendar.
Yeah, the reminders. If I don't have a reminder, our brains can only do so much, and I need those reminders to let me know that I got a meeting coming up, or even I need to take the trash out, so the trash people can come pick it up. I live my life off of that calendar and reminders.
Yeah, I couldn't live without my reminders. So tell us, Philip, how's 2020 going to turn out for us?
So every day is going to always be every year is going to always be a better year. I just think positively, and I try to bring what I got in my head, what I jot down. I try to make that happen. I try to speak it into existence. And, if it doesn't work out, at least you try to be successful at what you're trying to obtain. So that makes me comfortable. At least I tried if I didn't get it all the way. So my goal, I tried.
And that makes us feel good, doesn't it?
It does. Makes you feel even better when you do obtain it.
Well, Philip, thank you so much for taking a few minutes and visiting with us here again at WAOC. We really appreciate it. And wrap this year up, get those doors closed, and have a fantastic 2020, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me. Make sure you have a good new year as well. Be safe, and send love to your family.
Thank you, sir. And I was very fortunate to catch up with John, the VP of Operations for a large national sourcing company. John, with you overseeing so many supervisors and managers spread across the nation, I'm sure you understand getting the doors closed on 2019. How have you been?
I've been excellent, Marty. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we just wanted to touch base with everybody and kind of see how the year went. So, did you accomplish all your goals this year?
Well, Marty, I'd have to say that I've accomplished most of them, but there are a few that I will have to roll over.
And I kind of enjoy the rollovers. It kind of re-energizes you, doesn't it? So tell us something new that you learned this year.
Well, this year I've been learning to better deal with the stresses that are out of my control. As humans, we tend to perpetually stress over, pretty much everything. And I've been working on not allowing myself to stress out over things that I do not have control over. Things always work out, and that kind of stress is counterproductive and avoidable.
So how do you plan and set goals? We all do it a little differently. How do you get started each year?
When I sit down to develop strategy and set goals, I always reverse engineer my desired results. I figure out where I want to be or end up and list the steps necessary to achieve that goal. It helps to think of it in kind of a linear fashion, then identify all the required steps to accomplish that goal.
There's a whole lot that goes into planning and goal setting. Do you think all that is really necessary? Is planning really necessary for us?
Oh, absolutely. And how does the old axiom go? A goal without a plan is just a wish. I think that is very valid. If you haven't chronologically defined what it is you need to do, it makes you susceptible to the distractions and other factors from the whirlwind that keep you off task.
Exactly. How do you help your employees work with their planning? How do you get them started?
I like to encourage them to pre-plan their week by planning out their digital calendars. There are various productivity-based planning techniques, and I encourage them to find a system that works best for them.
Very good. So, John, tell us how 2020 is going to turn out, man.
Well, Marty, I think 2020 is going to be a great year because I'm going to make it a great year. Being optimistic is critical to being successful. It's like Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are correct. And that is absolutely true. It will be what you make it, and that's the beauty of America. You can do exactly what you are willing to do to get to where you want to be. I also want to wish every one of your listeners a very happy and prosperous New Year.
John, thank you so much. And you know how much I love quotes. That's actually one of my favorites. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes with us today, John, and good luck with your 2020.
You too, Marty. I'm looking forward to it.
Did everyone pick up on a recurring theme today? All of our guests had taken responsibility for their success. They planned for it by writing those goals down and holding themselves accountable for their results. And no one achieved everything that they wanted to, but everyone was positive about rolling them over and getting across the finish line for next year. Well, with all that being said, we'll get the doors closed on another year for us here at WAOC. I hope you join us next Thursday for the first show of 2020. Oh, and our W-2s will be coming out next month. If you didn't make at least $5,200 more than you did in 2018, let's fix that for next year. As we've learned this year, we can control our earnings, our savings, and our careers. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or topics, please email host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com. We love getting mail. Until next week and next year, be safe, productive, and prosperous.